Up until recently, I'd never told anyone this, but I remembered it in the middle of the night, and luckily Twitter is now a thing that exists. But one time, I just saw, like, a guy making out with a baby.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold the fort.
Yeah, it was like a guy, and he was just making out with a baby.
Is that the end of the story?
Yeah, that's where it begins and ends, but I just, like, I kept, like, remembering it, and I'm like, I saw a fucking guy make out with a baby one time, and then, like, before I tell anybody, I, like, forget about it again. You know? It's like one of those things. And I
give up.
didn't get to see it for too long either. So it's like one of those things where I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I saw, or it just really looked like there was a guy making out with a baby.
Okay, so you're saying there is a potential, there's a chance that maybe it wasn't exactly.
Yeah, I'm not saying he was like tongue kissing the baby, by the way. I'm not saying like he had his tongue down the baby's throat, right? But
right.
It was like that kind of like Hollywood making out, you know, where it's like just like deep kissing, I guess.
Yeah, let's just pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah,
because that to me is one of the most bizarre. I wouldn't even believe it.
I know
myself.
I know. I was walking past it and I did like a triple take, and I was like, is that guy making out with a baby? And then I looked away. I looked back. I'm like, that guy's definitely making out with a baby. And I looked away, and I looked back, and I'm like, pretty sure that guy's making out with a baby. But
just you saying making out with the baby is making me so uncomfortable. It's so bad.
It was so weird. I just saw it and I didn't know how to process it, so I just walked past it and then it was gone from my life, but it was never really gone.
Yeah, you'll remember that for the rest of your life.
Would the right thing to do, let's just say he was making out with a baby, and in all likelihood this was his baby. Would the quote right thing to do have been to be like, hey, stop making out with that baby? Like, should I have said something?
What if he said, I'm this baby's father, how dare you tell me how to raise my child?
Exactly! Oh, God.
That's a fucked up predicament.
And see, that would be exactly the response I would be afraid of.
Do you, like, go to the authorities with that, though? Like, do you tell someone?
I mean, it's... people kiss babies, right? Like, that's acceptable. But does it become less acceptable if you're kissing a baby on the mouth?
Maybe.
I think it's weird either way that people do
not
that.
being a father, I can't say for sure. That doesn't sound like acceptable behavior, but for this guy, he was probably just hanging out, just expressing his love for his child and nothing more. Maybe we're the assholes.
Maybe
we don't live in 2014.
If this helps at all, he looked like he could have been like some kind of foreigner. I didn't ever like hear him talk, but he might have been from a different culture.
I mean, is that acceptable in any culture?
Making out with a baby? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
does that carry overseas, you know?
There's like a Star Trek Next Generation episode where the culture
is to make out with babies.
No, not that.
They take their young to the makeout pits and
not quite.
They take their young and their creepy businessmen to the makeout pits.
I was gonna say, it's acceptable to commit suicide in their society. When they hit 60, they die. Like, they have to die because they're useless. They don't want to be weak. And it's like the whole episode is like the Enterprise crew struggling with the idea that this person's going to die. Like, what if there was a Star Trek episode where they had to grapple with this problem? Like, what the fuck? How do you deal with that? Do you grant asylum to the baby aboard the Enterprise?
I mean,
Seriously.
if it's such a cultural thing, everyone would be making out with babies, right?
I mean, God, I wouldn't. Who the Jesus? Oh, I'm so disturbed. I am so disturbed. But where was this, by the way? Like, where did you see this happen?
I was like on a pier. It was like on the pier. There was just somebody making out with a baby.
Is that an acceptable location to do that? Maybe, again, maybe we just don't know. Like,
I mean,
like piers
okay.
are where you do that.
Clearly, this guy didn't think it was weird because he was doing it in public. Yeah, like it wasn't like
Yeah, I'm gonna take this baby down to the cellar and make out with it.
you know. It was like this guy was like, he just was flaunting his baby, and the making out with thereof. So clearly he thought it was an acceptable thing to do, you know? So from his perspective, yeah, that's totally cool, make out with a baby.
So, like I said, and like people are saying in chat, somewhere in the world this is fine.
Somewhere probably is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, let me change this around on you. Let's say it's not a guy. Let's say like it's like clearly a mother like kissing a baby.
Oh my god,
on
these
the mouth.
mental images. Listen. Lyle.
Okay,
listen.
let's say a mother and a father having sex, and in the middle of sex, the dad leans over to the crib and starts making out with the baby.
What in the name of ever-living fuck is happening on our stream right now?
Is it okay then? Is it okay if society thinks it's okay?
So there you go. See, from your story, we've learned things.
See, there's a level of personal introspection that we can gain out of pretty much any circumstance, even if it is a guy making out with a baby.
Even if
mid-coitus.
Mid-coitus. Oh my god, what a story. That is amazing. I've never heard anything like that in my life, and I love it. Just the idea that there's someone out there that, like a culture that we don't know about, that is that brazen, that they come to the USA and do that in public, on a pier. Yeah, fuck that guy. That's my official stance on that. Fuck that guy. I don't care if it's acceptable or not. Fuck him.